Imagine getting a raise. Not enough to change your life overnight. Not a promotion that makes headlines. Just enough to finally breathe a little easier. A few $100s more per month. The kind of raise that feels like the world is finally starting to catch up to the work you have been putting in. Now imagine two versions of you receive that exact same raise on the exact same day. One version of you upgrades immediately. Bigger apartment, better car, more of everything you have been holding back on. It feels completely reasonable, you earned it. The other version of you barely changes anything. Same apartment, same car. You move the difference somewhere else before you even see it. 30 years later, same career, same salary, same starting point. Those two versions of you are living lives so different that if you put them side by side, you would not believe they began in the same place. But here's what makes this story genuinely uncomfortable. The version of you that upgraded every time your income grew, you did not make obviously bad choices. You made the choices almost everyone makes. Choices that felt completely reasonable at the time. And by the time you realize what happened, the gap is already 30 years wide. This is that story. And it starts the same way for both of you. You are 22. First real job, first apartment with your name on the lease. The furniture is secondhand. The car has a personality you did not ask for. Meals are mostly groceries, the occasional takeout when the week has been particularly long. Student loans sitting in the background like a quiet passenger you are trying to ignore. You are watching every dollar because you have no choice. Both versions of you are identical right now, living the same life, feeling the same mild combination of pride and low-level financial anxiety that comes with being 22 and doing it on your own for the first time. Neither version feels like a starting line. Both just feel like survival. But something is coming that will split these two lives permanently, and when it arrives, it will not feel like a fork in the road. It will feel like progress. The promotion comes through, around $500 extra per month after tax. You earned it, and it feels like exactly the right moment to let your life catch up to where you actually are. In the first version, you do what feels completely natural. The apartment gets upgraded. Not dramatically, just more space, a nicer building, a slightly better neighborhood. You replace the car that has been on borrowed time for 2 years. The wardrobe gets a refresh because you are more senior now and it makes sense. Takeout becomes a regular thing instead of a treat. A few new subscriptions. A weekend trip that felt impossible 6 months ago suddenly feels reasonable. None of it is reckless. All of it feels deserved. Within 90 days, the extra $500 a month is gone. Not wasted, absorbed. Your lifestyle expanded quietly to fill the new income the way water fills whatever container you put it in. In the second version, you make a different choice. You keep the apartment, keep the car. You still go out. You still enjoy your weekends. You are not living like a monk. But before you change a single spending habit you set up, one automatic transfer. $300 of that $500 into a Roth IRA on payday. Before you see it. Before your brain finds somewhere else for it to go. The gap between the two versions right now is barely visible. One has a nicer apartment. The other has $300 a month disappearing quietly into an account they almost never look at. At 25, the nicer apartment wins every single social comparison. Nobody has ever shown up to a party and said, "Wow, have you seen the index fund she opened last year?" But here is what nobody tells you about upgrades. 6 months after moving into the nicer apartment, you stop noticing it. This is not a personal failing. It is called hedonic adaptation, and it is one of the most documented patterns in human psychology. We adjust to improvements faster than we expect to. The nicer apartment becomes just your apartment. The newer car becomes just your car. The upgraded gym becomes the gym you always go to. The expensive coffee becomes just coffee. The feeling of the upgrade, the actual pleasure of having the better thing, fades within months, sometimes weeks. But the cost does not fade. The higher rent stays. The car payment stays. The subscriptions stay. The lifestyle that felt like an upgrade in January is just your baseline by June. And the next raise, when it comes, will need to cover the new baseline plus whatever upgrade feels deserved on top of it. This is the trap that is almost impossible to see from the inside. Because every individual upgrade is reasonable. Every single one makes sense at the time. It is only when you zoom out 30 years that you can see what they added up to. The first version of you is not making one bad decision. You are making hundreds of individually reasonable decisions that collectively build a life requiring your full income to maintain, and getting more expensive every time you earn more. The second version of you has discovered something quietly uncomfortable. The apartment you stopped noticing 6 months ago, you still live in it. And the $300 a month you automated into your Roth IRA, you stopped noticing that too. Both feel like you're normal now. One of them is building something, the other is just your Tuesday. By 30, something starts to happen that the first version of you does not see coming. You are 30. You have been promoted again, earning more than you ever have. In the first version, every raise over the past 5 years has been absorbed. The rent is higher, the car payment is higher, the subscriptions have multiplied in the background without you really tracking them. The credit card carries a balance that never quite gets cleared before something else comes up. You feel like you are earning well and barely keeping up simultaneously. You cannot quite identify where it all goes. It goes to the baseline that kept expanding every time your income did. In the second version, your investment account has crossed $22,000. The curve is still fairly flat. It does not feel significant yet. You look at it occasionally and think it should be more by now. It will be, but not yet. Not in a way you can fully feel. What you can feel, quietly, is that your monthly expenses are significantly lower than your income. There is a kind of breathing room you cannot quite explain to people without sounding like you are bragging about something that does not look impressive from the outside. And then comes 35, the year that is the hardest chapter to talk about honestly. Your coworker buys a Tesla. You hear about it on a Monday. By Wednesday, you are looking at your car in the parking lot differently. Nothing changed about your car between Monday and Wednesday, but something changed about how it feels to drive it. Your college roommate renovates their kitchen. You see the photos, open plan, marble countertops, the kind of kitchen that appears in the background of every aspirational post you have ever half-consciously absorbed. You look at your own kitchen that evening. It was fine this morning. Now it feels like a before photo. A friend from your first job buys a house in a suburb you have heard good things about. 4 bedrooms, a garden, moving day photos with everyone smiling. You think about your apartment and feel something you cannot quite name. Not jealousy exactly, just a quiet awareness that your life looks smaller than theirs, even though nothing about your life actually got worse. This is comparison, and it is the actual engine of lifestyle inflation. Not greed, not irresponsibility, just the completely human experience of measuring your life against the lives around you and finding the gap uncomfortable. In the first version, you buy the house. It stretches to the edge of what the bank will approve, but the neighborhood is good, and the kitchen is exactly what you have been seeing in those photos. From the outside, you have arrived. From the inside, every paycheck is accounted for before it lands. The mortgage, the car payment, the credit card carrying more than you are comfortable admitting, the monthly expenses that have quietly multiplied over 10 years of lifestyle upgrades. You earn more than you ever imagined at 22. You have less flexibility than you did then. In the second version, you get the questions. You are still in that apartment? Is that the same car? Your coworker laughs, pulling out of the parking lot in the Tesla. You seriously still drive that thing? You smile. You do not mention the investment account sitting at $68,000. You do not mention that your monthly expenses are significantly below your income. You do not mention the options you have that the Tesla payment does not leave room for. The version of your life that looks most successful at 35 and the version that actually is most successful at 35 are often not the same version. Nobody puts their net worth in the moving day photo. And now, here is the number that should make you stop completely. At 40, something arrives that was not in the plan. It does not have to be dramatic. A layoff, a health issue, a downturn that makes everything harder for everyone simultaneously. Whatever it is, it interrupts the income that was holding everything together. In the first version, it is a crisis. Every monthly expense is already committed. The mortgage, the car payment, the lifestyle that expanded over 15 years has no margin built into it, no cushion. The emergency fund covers maybe 6 weeks. You are not irresponsible. You are just fully financially committed to a life that requires your income to keep arriving without interruption. The thing that arrived did not get that memo. In the second version, it is difficult, but it is not a crisis. Your monthly expenses are significantly below your income. You have options. You can find the right next thing instead of the fastest next thing. You can absorb the disruption without it absorbing you. Same event, completely different experience of it. Not because one version of you worked harder, because one version built a gap between what you earned and what you needed, and protected it every time a raise tried to close it. And then comes the number that puts everything into perspective. Over 20 years, from 22 to 42, with regular promotions and raises, exactly the same amount of money passed through both versions of your hands. Let us say $1.9 million over those 20 years. The income was not different, the destination was. In the first version, every raise was absorbed into the baseline. Your net invested wealth at 42? Approximately $40,000. A 401k that was never quite maxed. A savings account depleted a few times when things went sideways. $1.9 million came in, and almost all of it is gone, into rent, car payments, subscriptions, upgrades, and a life that felt completely reasonable at every single step. In the second version, you automated a consistent percentage of every raise before adjusting your spending. Not all of it, not even most of it, just a portion, moved automatically before your lifestyle could claim it. Your net invested wealth at 42? Approximately $230,000, growing at a rate that is becoming very difficult to ignore. Neither version earned more than the other. That is what makes this so surprising. At 50, the question changes. It stops being, how much do you earn? It starts being, what are your options? In the first version, retirement feels uncertain. The math requires everything to go right for the next 15 years. You are not in trouble, but you are not free either. You need every paycheck. The lifestyle you built requires it. In the second version, you are not necessarily planning to retire at 50, but you could reduce your hours. You could take time off if something in your life required it. You could say no to a job you do not want without it being a financial emergency. You could help someone you love without threatening your own stability. You do not have more things than the first version of you. You have more choices. And at 55, back to those 2 Monday mornings, the careers looked almost identical. The lives didn't. One version of you is in the meeting, checking the time, not miserable, not destroyed, just not free. The other version woke up without an alarm. One quiet decision, made differently, every single time a raise arrived, for 30 years. Here's the thing about lifestyle inflation that nobody says clearly enough. It does not feel like a trap. It feels like progress. Every upgrade feels reasonable. Every raise feels like permission. And by the time the upgrades have become invisible, absorbed into your baseline, unnoticed, unremarkable, you are still paying for all of them. Every month. Indefinitely. The apartment you stopped appreciating 6 months after moving in. The car that just feels like your car now. The subscriptions you forget you have until you check your bank statement. The feeling fades. The cost does not. The people who build real freedom over a lifetime are not the ones who earned the most. They are the ones who refused to let every raise immediately become a new floor. They kept a gap between what arrived and what they spent. And they gave that gap to time. Every raise you will ever receive is going to offer you a choice. You can give it to your lifestyle, or you can give it to your future. The biggest raise you will ever receive will not come from your employer. It will come from the day you stop giving every raise away. Quick note before you go, everything in this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Dollar figures used are illustrative estimates based on assumed 7% average annual investment returns, consistent with broad market index fund historical averages, adjusted for inflation. Actual results will vary. Scenarios are composite illustrations based on widely documented financial research and experiences, including hedonic adaptation psychology research. For advice specific to your situation, please consult a qualified financial advisor.